suspended. Ticket number SP 16111549524, charged with no insurance, and that's it on that one. Ticket number SP 16229519124, charged with improper plates, driving an unregistered vehicle, and failure to display a valid operator's license. So for those charges, you could face up to 93 days in jail and/or receive a fine in the amount of $500. The court is going to enter a not guilty plea on your behalf, set a personal bond, and you have pretrial date. Looks like June the 4th at 9 o'clock. And that will be before Judge Archer, okay? And that's by Zoom.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so wait a minute. We're gonna move on to your main case. Can you restate your name for the record? All right. The court is calling case number 25057890001. The people of the state of Michigan versus Anthony Dejon Simpson. May I have your appearances, please?
Magistrate, good morning. Always a pleasure, Mr. Murad. Steve Vincent for the people, P71917.
And good morning, Your Honor. Ryan Murad, PA3665. On behalf of Mr. Anthony Simpson, we waive the formal reading and stand mute. Mr. Simpson's been advised of his rights.
Okay, then thank you. Good morning to the parties. The court will enter a not guilty plea on behalf of Mr. Simpson. By recommendation, Mr. Vincent.
Magistrate, it doesn't take much here to see that this defendant is a danger. He put 2 bullets in his brother, one in the, I guess, the upper chest, one in the back, as a direct result of that brother, who's a victim in this matter, being involved in a homicide shooting regarding this defendant's friend. This defendant's been ID'd. Yeah, this defendant's been ID'd as the shooter. He's a clear and present danger at the highest degree. Right now, it's an incident that just took place a couple of days ago. Respectfully, we're asking for a $250,000 cash surety. We're also asking for a tether as well as home arrest.
Okay, your response, Mr. Moran?
Judge, on behalf of Mr. Simpson, he's 31 years old. He's a life resident here in the state. He indicates, Judge, that he's gainfully employed here with the city of Detroit, Department of Transportation. He's been there for about 3 years. Judge, he works Monday through Friday. Despite his gainful employment, he still falls within the guidelines, is not able to post a monetary bond. He has 3 children in the community as well. Obviously, the charges are serious. A few things that I think go against the likelihood of conviction here. One of them being that it doesn't appear that any firearm was located. I'm looking at the last paragraph of the investigator's report. Obviously, this seems to be an offense that would be isolated with family. But importantly, I don't know of any priors. I think there's a larceny that he disclosed to us, but I don't think there's a violent danger or any sort of pattern as more so opposed to an isolated incident. And I think given that there isn't this, ongoing issue going on, I think you can craft the bond here to benefit Mr. Simpson and the complainant, being his brother. I would ask the court to consider a GPS tether and a house arrest bond.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the court has had an opportunity to review the investigator's report as well as listen to the arguments set forth by both parties. Mr. Simpson, the court appreciates the facts that you're working and taking care of your children, seem to have stable employment. But the nature of these particular charges are very, very serious. Does seem to be a family related incident. So I don't know that there's danger to anyone else. It's definitely a danger to the complaining witness, your brother, Mr. McGee. And I can appreciate the fact that no weapon was found, but somebody was shot. Mr. McGee was wounded, shot in the shoulder, in the back, and then I believe there were also shots discharged at a vehicle. And he poses a definite danger. He has some serious charges, one in which he faces up to life. I don't see that there no prior convictions, Mr. Vincent?
Defense counsel is correct. I have that larceny in 14, nothing other than that.
Okay, all right, but the court does feel that based upon the allegations by clear and convincing evidence that Mr. Simpson does pose a danger to specific individual, Robert McGee, his brother. Possibly, I know there was another brother that was involved in this melee. So the court will set a cash surety bond in the amount of 150,000. And Mr. Simpson, if you post bond,
Judge, I'm sorry,
Mr.
if I may,
Robert?
Mr. Simpson, this isn't end all be all, Mr. Simpson. You're gonna see the judge in 2 days. You'll have another shot at arguing bond. This doesn't mean that this case is gonna go forward. It's still very, very early. Hang tight, stay strong, and let's focus on what the magistrate's saying, okay, sir? Come on now.
All right, Mr. Simpson. You okay? All right. Do you want us to recall your case or are you ready to move forward? Okay. Recall, okay. All right, we'll move forward then. We'll be done shortly. Mr. Moran, I was gonna ask you about his work hours. What hours does he work?
6 a.m. to 2:30 p.m., Monday through Friday, Judge. I just asked for an hour each way.
Okay, so if he posts that bond, then the court will allow him to go to work back and forth, so he'll have curfew. That will be (6:00 p.m. to 4 a.m. curfew. Okay, let me
Unfortunately,
give you.
unfortunately
Yes.
for the defendant, once the employer finds out he has a suspended license, he works for the Detroit Department of Transportation. He actually drives. He can't even do that. But I mean, I digress.
Okay, yeah, I don't see that on here, but that's, something he could take up with his.
Don't say anything, sir. Don't
employer.
don't say anything. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay, I don't see that as a charge. That might be something, but he could take that up with his employer.
Sure.
He has to post a bond first.
Right.
All right, and then that's unaffordable, Mr. Murad, you've indicated?
Yes, Your Honor. It is.
So there'll be a bond redetermination hearing set for Monday. That will be June the 2nd. And that will be at 9:00 a.m. before Judge McConicle or Judge Williams. He does have 2 court dates. He has a probable cause conference that's scheduled for June the 6th at 8:30. That'll be by Zoom before Judge Jefferson. Then he has the right to a preliminary examination. That's scheduled for June the 11th at 8:30. And that will be in person before Judge Jefferson. Now, so you do have a couple of bond conditions. You may not possess or purchase a firearm or any other dangerous weapon, and you may not have any contact with Robert McGee or Broderick McGee. Is that understood? Okay, all right then. That concludes this matter.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Nah, well, I'll figure it out.
Mr. Murad, you're already winning, man. You're already winning. You're 1-0 already.
I don't know about that.
I'm sorry. Oh, I thought the court said.
Parnell. Go
Now, the
Parnell.
court, doesn't matter if we go out of order and take one of the females?
Come on.
Does it matter that you, the females? Okay. Hold on, I gotta put his curfew. Okay, good morning, sir, your name?
Marcus Parnell.
Okay, give me one moment. No, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Oh, anybody have one? Okay, hold on. There's curfew hours in here. Okay. Okay. So we have Mr. Purnell. Good morning. Mr. Purnell has some tickets, so I'm gonna address those first. Mr. Purnell, because you failed to appear on some court matters, there were bench warrants that were issued. Court's gonna set those bench warrants aside. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You also have the right to an attorney, and if you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you. The court is calling ticket number SP 1057386. You're charged with driving an unregistered vehicle, improper plates, and driving while license suspended. Ticket number SP 1329494. Charged with driving with license suspended, improper plates. Ticket number SP 1350376. You're charged with driving with license suspended and driving an unregistered vehicle. Ticket number SP 1617679. You're charged with failure to display a valid operator's license. Ticket number SP 1634380. You're charged with driving with license suspended and no insurance. Ticket number 400408, charged with no operator's license, no insurance, and unregistered vehicle. Ticket number 440202, you're charged with no operator's license. Ticket number SP 1331193, charged with driving license suspended, unregistered vehicle, and improper plates. Okay, sir, for those particular charges, you could face up to 93 days in jail and or receive a fine in the amount of $500. The court's gonna enter a not guilty plea on your behalf and set a personal bond. You have a pretrial that's scheduled for June the 23rd at 8:30. That will be before Judge Ramsey Heath. And that will be by Zoom, okay? All right, can you restate your name for the record?
Marcus Purnell.
All right, the court will call case number 25057892001. The people of the state of Michigan versus Marcus Martez Purnell. Appearances, please.
Good morning, Lisa Coyle, appearing on behalf of the people.
And Ryan Murad, PA 3665, on behalf of Mr. Purnell, we waive the formal reading and stand mute. Mr. Purnell's been advised of his rights, and good morning, Ms. Coyle.
Good morning.
Okay, thank you. And good morning. The court will enter not guilty plea on behalf of Mr. Purnell. Ms. Coyle, do you have a bond recommendation?
My bond recommendation is a $250,000 cash surety tether house arrest, Your Honor. These are extremely serious charges in which, based on the brazenness of the defendant's actions, this is a case in which I believe that, based on the allegations and past history, it appears that the complainant is in danger. She's very fearful for her life. I've spoken to the prosecutor's office regarding this matter. This case was captured on video at a mini mart, in which backs up not only what the complainant says, but there's another witness there that was the clerk, that he observed the assault. He observed that the Mr. Purnell chased the complainant into the mini mart with purse and the gun openly in his hand. He assaulted her repeatedly in the mini mart, that he punched her in the head with a closed fist. He allegedly grabbed her by a hair, threw her to the floor. He also then, while in the mini mart, took her purse while armed. He's armed with that gun, and then they leave. He forces her into the rear passenger side of the car. Per the complaint, she tried to get out of that vehicle. He grabbed her and he struck her again with a closed fist. There's also allegations later at the hotel that what began as consensual fellatio turned into something else. But I'm not going to address that because that at this point is not charged here. This is a 3-year dating relationship. The officers did search the defendant's car, a gun and ammunition was recovered. This was allegedly over an argument that began where he was seeing another woman. I do note a prior assaultive contacts, which um, began on October 4th of 24. Officers brought a warrant to the prosecutor's office, same victim for aggravated assault. They were unable to contact her. On March 14th of this year, again for domestic violence, unable to contact her. We have April 7th, as recent as April 7th, same victim for assault and battery, also unable to contact her. Your Honor, this is a typical, unfortunately, a domestic violence relationship in which this is escalating to a point that he openly is assaulting her with a gun um, in front of others and on video. Your Honor, this woman um, is in fear for her life and should be, based on the allegations brought forward. Your Honor, people are asking for that high cash surety bond in order to enable her to be safe. We're asking for that 250 cash surety and a tether house arrest, no work. If he is able to get out on that bond, it doesn't, the fact that he can come out of his house should not be happening, whether he's working or not. This is such a assaultive allegation, Your Honor, that this is a situation in which the complainant has had repeated assaultive contacts with the complaint or the defendant, and that the people believe she is in danger for her life. So for those reasons, I'm asking for that cash surety bond, of course, with no contact. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Marai.
Thank you, Your Honor. So I'm going to start backwards here, Judge. I ran the register of actions under Mr. Purnell, and I didn't find anything that ever amounted to a charge of any sort of domestic violence or assault. So it sounds like there's an alleged reports, but there was never probable cause established for those reports to turn into charges, as is the standard that's required by law. Additionally, Your Honor, if you're presumed innocent of the crimes you're charged with, I think you're presumed even more innocent of the crimes that you're not charged with, allegedly. On behalf of Mr. Parnell, there's a few things in this report that I'd like to highlight. I mean, when it comes to prior criminal history, I don't think there's anything besides an old marijuana case. Also, if there was a firearm recovered in the car and he wasn't charged with CCW, that tells me he probably has a CPL, which tells me that he doesn't have traffic warrants. That tells me that he doesn't have any convictions that's prohibiting him from having that within the 3 or 8 year requirement. Now, a few things I want to highlight here that, the story, when you start to read it, it's easy to just kind of fall in and think my client's this danger, this, evil person with unlawful imprisonment charges and things of that nature. But, this is a complainant who's texting my client to come and pick her up, who then hold on, sir, who then is asking to, be taken to the liquor store. Then they go to the liquor store. Then in the police report, the complaining witness is saying she doesn't remember what happened after the liquor store. So I don't know if that complainant's under intoxicant. I don't know why the complainant doesn't remember that. Now there is a described assault, right? But let's really kind of comb through this described assault with a fine comb. Now they're saying that a firearm was in his hand and he was seen striking her and chasing her. Never saying that the firearm was pointed at her. Never any shots going off or anything like that. And then after this alleged incident that's described as this horrible scene, they're at a motel room where there's, as indicated by the people in the beginning, at least, consensual fellatio. So is this a serious, dangerous guy who's unlawfully imprisoning people, or is this maybe a toxic relationship that a no contact order and a GPS tether can solve? The injuries described in the alleged assault, I believe would not amount to the great bodily harm standard, just based on the injuries described. It's not alleged that he hit her with a firearm. That has not been alleged. So really, this is a DV case, and the FA comes in because there's an allegation of a firearm in his hand. I do think the great bodily harm and the unlawful imprisonment is a bit of an overcharge. But given his lack of real prior criminal history, and I hope the court's not considering anything that wasn't ever charged, but given the lack of criminal history, given the fact that these parties will stay away from each other and don't share a residence, I think that you can do something here, Your Honor, to make everybody happy. Give him a GPS tether house arrest. He can't leave his house. He can't get near her no matter what, even if he can't work. That's what I'm going to ask you to do, Judge, based on the lack of criminal history. And really, because of I would say there's two sides to every story, and there's not the highest likelihood of conviction for at least the top 2 charges here. So for those reasons, Your Honor, I'm asking for you to do a personal bond and the GPS tether with home confinement.
I'm going to briefly
Okay,
just
thank you.
respond to that. I did check that there is no CPL. He has that delivery case, and that was from 2017.
You got an echo.
I hear an echo.
You know what? That's on my end.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Ms. Cole. You
Okay.
started breaking.
Okay, I did check. He does not have a CPL. He does have a conviction. His rights to carry a weapon were not restored. Your Honor, this is the situation. This is what happens when people belittle what occurred. She went to the hospital. She had some injuries, and this is what we do: is we belittle what occurs with this woman as it's just a DV. To her, a regular assault is not. This, like I said, this is an allegation that's on video as well as been witnessed by another individual, and he was brazen enough to run into a mini mart after her. So I don't think a house arrest is sufficient in this. This is an issue whether is he a danger to the community? I would assert yes, based on that. Number two, is he a danger to the complainant? I would assert yes, for sure. This is the fourth allegation. And I know that they're not charged, and he is presumed innocent on all these. But what here we are is the arguments are allegations based on, is he a flight risk, and is he a danger to the complainant and the community? This is not whether there are previous contacts with this same complainant that from before. They can't be made up. This is going forward. So she has made those reports. She may not have followed through. Typical domestic violence, but this is unfortunately the cycle of violence of control. And the fact that he felt that he had to chase her into the mini mart with the gun. When she got in the car, I do note that the gun was on his lap. That is showing obviously control over this woman, that he's going to assert his power and control. It appears later in the IR, she makes no bones about it. Their relationship is based on hanging out and having sex and drugs and so forth. And so, but this is what it's about. And I don't want to use the word pimping out, but that's what he appears to be. This is the way he operates with her, and she understands it. So for these reasons, Your Honor, I do believe that he is a danger. And I would ask for, even if you gave him a tether, no work, only house arrest. This is not a case that is personal bond would be adequate for.
Okay, thank you. All right, the court has heard the arguments, and just FYI, Mr. Murad, count 5 of the complaint. There is a DV charge. It's on the second page. You may not have observed that. So
No,
that
I'm
is
not
a
disputing that,
charge.
Judge.
Oh, I thought you said it was no domestic violence charge. But anyway,
no CCW charge.
okay, I
But
heard
never
that
mind,
one
it's
as well.
moot.
But nevertheless, and it wouldn't matter if it was a CCW or not, because having the ability or license to carry a weapon doesn't mean that you could use it in any manner, especially in a assaultive manner against someone else. So with that, the court is going to find, based upon these allegations, that there's some slapping and kicking and punching and striking with the handgun and that. The
Judge, that
complaining
wasn't
witness, I
alleged.
believe,
I'm sorry,
end up
Judge,
at,
that part wasn't alleged that he ever hit her with a gun. It was only, that was
Wait a
never
minute.
alleged. It was only alleged that he had a gun in his hand.
She ends up at the hospital. Okay, so the court will strike that then, if that's not, but I saw that. Says the complainant states the defendant struck her in the head with a handgun. I thought I
Yes,
read that.
he did. I saw that same thing.
Okay. All right, then that's okay. That's on in the third paragraph of the IR, Mr. Murad.
I was
So,
basing off the video. The video was
Okay.
described, wasn't described in the video.
Okay, that was a statement that was mentioned. So the court was correct in that regard. But we all want to make sure we get the facts straight, irrespective of how we interpret them. The court is not here to make a decision on his guilt or innocence, but the court is here to set a bond that in fact, protects the community claiming witness in this particular instance more so, and that one in which Mr. Purnell will appear back in court. So the court does find by clear and convincing evidence, there being on video, the weapon, the striking him in the head, that there's a cash surety bond that must be set. Court will not set it at $250,000. Think that's high. The greatest charge that he's facing is a 15-year offense, although they're all extremely serious. Certainly there could have been some added charges. They were not, and the court is not going to take those into consideration. The court will set a $75,000 cash surety bond. And Mr. Purnell, sir, if that bond I don't recall seeing anything relative to work. Okay, the court is going to impose a tether, but it's a no contact tether. It's not a stay at home tether. And also there's a condition, Mr. Purnell, that you not have any contact with Raven Smith and you not possess or purchase a firearm or any other dangerous weapon. Is that affordable or unaffordable?
Unaffordable, Your Honor.
Okay, then there'll be a bond redetermination hearing on Monday, June the 2nd, before Judge McConaughey or Judge Williams. He has two court dates. He has a probable cause conference that's scheduled for June the 10th at 8:30. That'll be by Zoom, Mr. Purnell. And then you have the right to a preliminary examination. That's scheduled for June the 17th at 8:30. However, that will be in person. Both of those matters are before Judge Duque. All right? That concludes this matter.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Simmons.
Let me do the young lady that's been sitting there patiently, and then we'll get to sir. If the at CJC, your name, please. Not your name, Ms. Walker. I'm talking about in the interview room at the criminal justice complex. Your name?
Tyrese Thomas, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Thomas. Thanks for your patience. Give us a minute, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And sir, that just arrived. Your name, please.
Michael Simmons.
Mrs. Simmons. Okay, give us a moment. All right, so she's been sitting there patiently. Miss Walker? Okay, all right, I'm gonna do your case, hold on. Okay, so Miss Walker. All right, Miss Walker has some tickets, and so I'm gonna address those tickets first. Miss Walker, because you failed to appear for, like, couple cases, let's see. 4. you failed to appear, there were some bench warrants that were issued. Of course, gonna set those bench warrants aside. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You also have the right to an attorney, and if you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you. The court is calling ticket number SP 1308387. 1322, you're charged with driving an unregistered vehicle and no insurance. Ticket number SP 1330321. 32122, you're charged with driving with the invalid license. Ticket number SP 1378888. 10422, you're charged with driving an unregistered vehicle, no insurance, and failure to display a valid license. Ticket number SX 3769504 8/18/2020, charged with open intoxicants in a motor vehicle passenger. Ticket number SP 1628461 10/1/24, you're charged with driving with license suspended. So, Ms. Walker, for those charges, you can face up to 93 days in jail and/or, I'm sorry, you can, yeah, you face up to 93 days in jail or receive a fine in the amount of $500. The court is going to enter a not guilty plea on your behalf. Got a personal bond, and you have, let's see, pretrial. That's set for June the 23rd. It's like 9:00 a.m. That'll be by Zoom before Judge Kenneth King. Okay?
Yeah.
That's the date on your ticket. So I'm gonna move on to your main case. I do need you to restate your name for the record.
Corinne Walker.
Okay, thank you. Court is calling case number 25056690001. The people of the state of Michigan versus Corinne Bailey Walker. Appearances, please.
Lisa Coyle appearing on behalf of the people.
And Ryan Marat, PA 3665, on behalf of Ms. Walker, we waive the reading and stand mute. Ms. Walker's been advised of her rights.
Okay, thank you. The court will enter a not guilty plea on behalf of Ms. Walker. Is there by recommendation from you, Ms. Coyle?
I'm recommending a 10,000 personal. I'm not aware of any criminal history before this or since this, Your Honor. This is from October of 24. So no objection to 10,000 personal.
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, she has no priors. This is a 2-year misdemeanor.
Not that I am aware of, Your Honor.
Okay. The court will set a $5,000 personal bond. So, Ms. Walker, that means that you don't have to post any money. You do have to appear for 2 court dates. You have a probable cause conference that's scheduled for June the 6th at 8:30. That'll be by Zoom before Judge Giles. And then you also have the right to a preliminary examination. That's scheduled for June the 13th at 8:30. That will be in person before Judge Giles in the 36th District Court. Ma'am, you understand your court dates?
Yes.
All right, then that concludes this matter. Okay, so sir, Mr. Thomas,
Yes, Your Honor.
okay. That's Michael Thomas. I have 2 Thomases. Hold on.
GPS tether, is that house arrest?
No, that's not house arrest.
It's not
That, which one was that?
the second person.
No. On Purnell. Okay, first name is Tyrese, because I have 2 Thomases.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and Mr. Good morning again, and he does have some tickets. I'm going to address those first. Mr. Thomas, because you failed to appear for some court hearings, there were bench warrants issued. So the court's gonna set those bench warrants aside. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You also have the right to an attorney, and if you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you. The court is calling ticket number SP 1200816 5/19/21. You're charged with driving with license suspended. Ticket number SP 1200816 76739, 111021. You're charged with driving with license suspended and no insurance. Ticket number SP 129300, 122021. You are charged with driving with license suspended, improper plates, and driving an unregistered vehicle. Ticket number SP 1338 525 41022. You're charged with improper plates, driving an unregistered vehicle, and driving while license suspended. And ticket number SP 1676709, 21425. You're charged with driving with license suspended or revoked and no insurance. So, Mr. Thomas, for those charges, you could face up to 93 days in jail and or receive a fine in the amount of $500. Court is going to enter a not guilty plea on your behalf and set a personal bond. Okay. You have a pretrial that's scheduled for June the 23rd at 9 o'clock, and that will be by Zoom before Judge Ramsey Heath. Okay. All right.
Yes,
We're
Your
going to move
Honor.
on to your main. We're going to move on to your main case. If you would, please restate your name for the record.
Tyrese Thomas, Your Honor.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
okay. That's all right. Court is calling case number 25056940101. The people of the state of Michigan versus Tyrese Raymond Bond Thomas Jr. Can I have your appearances, please?
Thank you, Magistrate. Always a pleasure. Steve Vincent for the people.
And Ryan Murad, PA 3665, on behalf of Mr. Tyrese Thomas, we waive the formal reading and stand mute. Mr. Thomas has been advised of his constitutional rights.
Okay, thank you. The court will enter a not guilty plea on behalf of Mr. Thomas. So before the parties argue, it looked like it was a capious that occurred at
I
the
was still
preliminary examination.
incarcerated. I was never
I
free.
got you, sir. Let me do all that, okay?
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
That's okay, your lawyer, he can take care of that for you, and if you still have questions at the end, we can address those as it relates to bond or court dates. Okay, so preliminary exam failed to appear, $10,000 cash bond was set. Is this Judge Sean Jacquet? Looks like that would have been just last week, 5/19, a week before last, 5/19/25. So have we spoken to Judge Jacquet this morning? No. Oh, regarding the bond. So the court is really technically not at liberty to change the bonds that are set by the judges. It's only one judge that will allow us to call and check. So the court is going to continue that $10,000 cash bond. But Mr. Thomas, on Monday, you'll have an opportunity to go before Judge McConicle or Judge Williams for a bond redetermination hearing. Now, Mr. Murad, I guess I should have checked first. Is that affordable or unaffordable?
It's unaffordable, Judge, and whenever appropriate, if I can make record.
Okay, hold on a moment. Okay. Okay, so you'll have a bond redetermination hearing on Monday before Judge McConicle or Judge Williams, as indicated. And that will be June the 2nd at 9 o'clock. Okay, so Mr. Thomas, you also have the right to a preliminary examination, which is scheduled for June the 18th. And a probable cause conference is scheduled for June the 11th. Probable cause will be by Zoom, and the preliminary exam will be in person. Those matters are before Judge Jacquet. While you're on bond, sir, or as a bond condition, you may not possess or purchase a firearm or any other dangerous weapon, and you may not have any contact with the Joshua Martin. Okay? All right, that concludes this matter.
Judge, if I may.
Oh, you wanted to make a record? Go ahead, Mr. Rowan.
Yes. So, Judge, we just want the court to know that Mr. Thomas was first arraigned on this case on April 9th. He was never, ever released from custody. He was originally given a 10,000, 10% bond, but at redetermination, the Honorable Chief Judge McConicle reduced that bond to 10,000 personal with tether. Once that personal bond hit, he was then transported to Clinton Township for a probation violation, and had to rectify that issue. Since then, he's been retransferred back to Wayne County about 2 days ago. So he's never been out. He's never, the only reason he wasn't brought to court is because of the court, because of the court and the jail and their inability to get on the same page with this, which is a common issue. And this poor guy is going to have to sit in jail on a case that the chief judge already gave him a personal bond on from no fault of his own, only because somebody, I don't know who, but somebody didn't do their job correctly, unfortunately, in getting him to court or ridding him out or whatever it was. So I just wanted that record to be clear. Obviously, I'm sure Judge Jacquet wouldn't have been aware of that, but I just wanted to put that on the record. I understand. And pretty much, Mr. Thomas, what's happening is when a felony judge sets a cash bond for you, the magistrate today has no authority to reduce that to personal, even though we just gave her the best reason to do so. So what I need you to do for me, man, is hold it down until Monday. You're going to see the chief judge. This will get addressed, and hopefully that bond will be reduced then. With that, Your Honor, we have nothing further.
Okay, and the record should reflect that the clerk, Ms. Johnson, did attempt to reach out to Judge Takei's courtroom. He's probably conducting exams at this point in time to see whether or not there will be any movement. So, Mr. Thomas, again, I have no authority to change the bond, but you will on Monday. Your attorney will have an opportunity to argue that. Okay?
And for,
All right,
and for the record, regardless, and I appreciate what defense counsel said, the people would have fought back on this. The allegations were a CSC 4th degree, grabbing a police officer's genitals. The defendant's on probation in 2 different counties. I don't know how much empathy we can have for somebody like that. I don't know if we can consider him a poor guy either. But with that, I digress.
Okay. And so it's not empathy that we, as certain people, we try to follow the law as it relates to, it's not whether you feel something or not. It's whether or not they fit within the confines of the law and whether or not.
No. What I was saying was defense counsel has a very broad and expansive vernacular. And I appreciate that about him, but he had used a word describing this defendant, to the extent where we're talking about him being a poor guy. But he put himself in this position, quite honestly.
I don't have probation.
Okay,
No, sir.
Okay,
I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to do that.
No, we're not going to go back and forth. Again, the court is
finalize
only
Judge
here for the
McConaughey.
parties. No, we're not going to go back and forth. The court understands that this is an arraignment and this is not a trial. Whatever arguments that they want to assert, both sides can do that down the road, but the court is not here to make that determination. Okay, all right. Again, as I said, that concludes this matter. Thank you both.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So let's go to, we have Mr. Simmons that was up. And after we do Mr. Simmons, we're going to go right to, ma'am, your name, please. Your man at DDC. Oh, is that Mather?
Yes,
Dean Mather? Okay, they have real mother. That's Mather. Okay. All right, we'll get to you in one moment. All right, Mrs. Simmons. Okay, can you state your name for the record again, sir?
Michael Simmons.
Okay. Good morning. Mr. Simmons has a ticket, so I'm going to address that ticket. Mr. Simmons, because you failed to appear for a pretrial, there was a bench warrant that was issued. The court's going to set that bench warrant aside. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You also have the right to an attorney, and if you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you. The court is calling ticket number SP 1388367-91822. You're charged with consuming alcohol in public and consuming marijuana in a public place. Okay. So for those charges, sir, you could face up to 93 days in jail and or receive a fine in the amount of $500. The court is going to enter a not guilty plea on your behalf, set a personal bond, And you have a pretrial that's scheduled for June the 24th at 8:30. That'll be before Judge Archer by Zoom, okay? That's the first court date. Now, can I get you to restate your name again? We'll move on to your main case.
Michael Simmons.
Okay, thank you. Court is calling case number 18046357001. The people of the state of Michigan versus Michael James Simmons. May I have your appearances, please?
Thank you, Magistrate. Steve Vincent for the people.
And Rad Murad, PA 3665, on behalf of Mr. Michael Simmons, we waive the formal reading and stand mute. Mr. Simmons has been advised of his rights.
Okay, then the court will enter a not guilty plea on behalf of Mr. Simmons. So, just so the parties know, it was a KPS bond set 510% back July 28, 2020. And that it appears he failed to appear for a pretrial before Judge Lanice Bryant. So, but the court will entertain a bond for both parties.
Thank
You first,
you,
Mr.
Thank you, Magistrate. It really is. It's always an uphill battle when I argue against Mr. Murad. He's really good at what he does. My argument here is this: this defendant has had 5 years to attempt to try to rectify this. Whether or not we argue this was in the COVID area, at the time, and the courts were closed and then they were opened back up. If he got arrested, and that this is the reason why he's appearing on this warrant, we don't think that that is merit for him just to be let out on a personal bond. Now, if he walked in voluntarily, the people would think a different way. But he has had 5 years to try to take care of this. So with that being said, Magistrate, we're going to ask you to continue it. I understand it's a fraud case. I understand. I believe it's a second-degree fraud, but only because the fact that he's had so much time. And unless Mr. Murad tells me otherwise, he didn't do it on his own. He had to be brought to court based on an arrest.
Okay, your response,
Judge,
Mr. Murad.
Mr. Vincent's correct. This has definitely been pending for some time, and I think he kind of led to where I'm going with this. Obviously, when this KPS was issued, courts were in and out of closures. We didn't even know what Detroit was going to look like. But Mr. Vincent's correct. He should have taken care of it after, and he didn't. My argument is this 2 days that he's spending in jail right now, the worst place in the world on a hot summer day, to me is enough of a sanction for failing to appear. And I would ask the court to consider an opportunity for Mr. Simmons to get himself to court, handle this case where I've never seen anyone get sentenced to anything besides probation at the worst. And this is really something that can be resolved imminently. For all those reasons, Judge, I'm asking the court to release him on personal bond. He indicates that he was picked up while working. So, I don't think he's been an outgoing danger or committing these offenses, at least to my knowledge. But I'd ask for a final opportunity for personal bond here.
Okay, all right. So I don't have a date, but it does appear that maybe it was, I don't know how many failures to appear. I see one file. And again, yeah, back in 2020, it was a little difficult getting cases through. I don't know, but Mr. Simmons, because it wasn't that much of a bond that had to be posted, obviously. It was at some point. Let's see.
No, Magistrate, you're correct. There's one failure to appear. It happened in July of 2020, 510%.
Correct.
Okay, all right then. So Mr. Simmons, the court is going to give you an opportunity to get back here on your own. Okay, so make sure that you hear these court dates and make sure that you get your paperwork before you leave the court. All right, the court is going to set. Where's this initial charge? $5,000 personal bond. Okay, let's see, bond conditions. Sir, you're not to go into the Nike store on Woodward. Is that understood?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Then you have a pretrial that's scheduled for June the 13th at 8:30 before Judge Bryant. It's by Zoom, but if you can't connect to Zoom, then you appear at the courthouse in person. All
Yes,
right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that concludes this matter. Thank you. All right,
Thanks,
then, let's see, Ms. Matherdeen. Thank you for your patience. Okay, state your full name, ma'am, again for the record. Court is calling case number 250-574-6701. The people of the state of Michigan versus Donetta Patrice Matherdeen. Appearances, please.
Lisa Coyle appearing on behalf of the people.
And Ryan Marat, PA 3665, on behalf of Ms. Matherdeen, we waive the reading and stand mute. Ms. Matherdeen's been advised of her rights.
Okay, the court will enter not guilty plea on behalf of Ms. Matherdeen. Ms. Coyle, you have a bond recommendation?
I do, Your Honor. People have no objection to a personal bond, but I am asking for the condition of no driving without a valid license. In this matter, she was driving without a valid license. She was suspended. I'm also asking for a tether, Your Honor. This is a case in which they attempted a traffic stop for failure to stop at the stop sign. She fled on foot after she stopped. And then she pretended not to be the driver of that vehicle, Your Honor. People believe she may be a flight risk, so I'm asking for a personal with a tether, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Morale, your response, please.
Judge, no criminal history or capious history. She's gainfully employed full-time at FedEx. I don't see a need for a tether here. She has a stable residence with her wife. I think this is the first felony that I'm aware of that she has going on. It's a 2-year, the least culpable fleeing that they have. For all those reasons, I think a regular personal bond on the 6-month-old case, well, 5.5-month-old case should be sufficient.
Okay,
No
All right,
objection to the
so,
no driving without a valid license provision either.
okay, yes, the court is going to impose that. So, Ms. Matherdeen, ma'am, one of the conditions of bond, you may not drive without a valid license, okay? The court is not going to impose a tether. The court is gonna set a personal bond in the amount of $5,000. So ma'am, you don't have to post any money, but you do have to follow the bond conditions and appear back in court. You have 2 court dates. You have a probable cause conference that's scheduled for June the 6th at 8:30. That'll be before Judge Giles by Zoom. Then you have the right to a preliminary examination. That's currently scheduled for June the 13th at 8:30. That will be in person before Judge Giles here in the 36th District Court. You understand your bond conditions and your next court dates?
No, thank you.
You don't understand or you do understand?
No, I understand, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, then that concludes this matter. Thank you. All right, and then sir, at DDC, your name, please.
Aaron Michael Locke.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Locke. Mr. Locke has some tick, oh, it looks like, oh no, I'm sorry. It's thick, but it's not tickets. Okay. The court is calling. Case number 240610, 2401. The people of the state of Michigan versus Aaron Michael Lott. Appearances, please.
Thank you, Magistrate Steve Benson for the people.
And Ryan Marat, PA 3665, on behalf of Mr. Lott, we waive the reading and stand mute. Mr. Lott's been advised of his rights.
Okay, the court will enter a not guilty plea on behalf of Mr. Lott. By recommendation.
Magistrate, I have to say this, there's some irony here because I'm looking at the defendant and I can see on his shirt trust. And we're here on a case in front of you for passing bad checks to the tune of almost over $116,000. You know, Magistrate, I don't know if I'm going to convince you that this defendant's a danger. I will make the argument that he is because he endangered the livelihoods of a lot of people. As you can see, based on the overwhelming evidence here, passing bad checks, using accounts of other people, taking advantage of other people, this ends up putting people's constitution at risk. Magistrate, I'll ask you for a high personal bond on this. I know it's non-assaultive. I don't know if a tether is going to help out. These are pretty substantial felonies. The defendant's going to have to face those. Any other conditions we would appreciate, but we'll leave it up to you.
No objection to a personal bond, Judge. I trust Mr. Lott.
Okay, thank you. So if I'm looking at the complaint correctly, Mr. Vincent, it appears that there's one charge because it was one institution, because it was one banking institution, but it's multiple people.
Yeah, and the banking institution, yeah, I believe it was the Chase Bank that it had to do with. But there were multiple people involved in this. There were multiple people that allegedly were taking advantage of this. I had saw the numbers and all the investigation and Mr. Lott's participation in this. That's why, I know I'm not going to be convincing enough to you that he creates a danger. But I needed to get that on the record because a lot of people's lives were affected as a direct result of this.
I do understand that. It looks like it was probably more than 10 people, or at least 10 people who were impacted by these allegations. And so
Right.
I don't, yes.
Oh, wait.
So Mr. Lott, the court is not going to set a cash surety bond. But sir, these are serious charges. So they're not assaultive. And doesn't appear that he had any priors, but this was something that was over a period of time. 9/15/22, to 9/27. Oh, it was in a short period of time within the same year, and it was, 2.5 years ago. And so the court is going to set a $50,000 personal bond. And they don't have any conditions here, but I mean, that's at least the Chase Bank he shouldn't have any contact with. Yes, all of these look like the one was Citizens.
It
So
looks like
unless
the
those
complaint
items-
is Sandoval.
Yeah, that
I'm
was
sorry.
I'm sorry, that was the bank of choice, but I think this all emanated from the construction individual whose account the money was being taken out of.
Okay, it's so thick. I was only able to review it because it was,
Unless Ms. Murad, you see
probably 50
otherwise,
pages.
but that's
No, I would stipulate to a no contact order with Sanborn Construction. It seems that they're the main complainant in this case. I think that should be sufficient.
Okay, then the court will do that. So Sanborn Construction, sir, you're not to have any contact with that company, okay? You understand that, sir?
Yes.
Okay, hold on a moment.
Mr. Wiggins on personal bond. He already knows you go to jail if you drive without a driver's license. That's what happens. So I'm asking the court not to do the tether at this time. You know, because of the drinking, because it is charged with OWI, I suppose that I'm not gonna have, let me take a look at the blood alcohol content. I don't think I would have an objection to alcohol monitoring, but just not the tether, not the house arrest at this time, Your Honor.
All right, oh, an alcohol tether, you say you have no objections to that, Ms. Stevenson?
No, the alcohol monitoring, if he's required to submit to your analysis through the 36th District Court, I think that that's probably appropriate here.
Will he get there, though? That would be a concern.
So
What,
if that's a
Mike,
condition
what's your-
of, he's nodding his head, yes, that he can comply with that court order, Your Honor.
He probably says yes every time he's in court, Ms. Stevenson, but
Which you
anyway,
should. I think that's, you shouldn't be
right, I
saying
mean, you
no.
gonna tell the judge,
to it.
I'm not gonna comply.
Right, right. Good job. Very good job, Mr. Wiggins.
He's gotta do a better job in terms of being out. You know, he'll
I
come
agree
before
with
me
that,
with some
Your Honor.
tickets. He came before me with some tickets. He's not the typical quote unquote danger that we would see as far as assaultive, but yet when you have a vehicle on the road that weighs tons, then you pose a danger to the community. Court is concerned
Yeah,
about
and he
him not
went to
getting back and
jail
forth
for
to
that.
court.
He
Yeah.
did go to
So
jail for
the
that because it happened in 2024, and he went to jail as a probation violation for that, which is, you know, that's
so
what
the
happens.
RNO, Miss Stevenson, how much jail time did he spend? He's the one that he was on probation for?
How long did you stay in jail, Mr. Wiggins?
So I was on probation in like so many jurisdictions, they were bouncing me around.
Mr. Wiggins, how long did you stay in jail on the on the resulting of striking police
Probably
officer?
almost a month.
Thank you.
Magistrate, what he was speaking to was the fact that he was on probation for multiple felony financial transactions as well as ID theft. So he's taken people's identifications while he's driving on the roadway without a license, and now he's also driving drunk and then not showing up for court. I can appreciate the fact that he ended up, and let me just finish, Stevenson, you can say as much as you want. But I appreciate the fact that he
I
ended up.
appreciate that. Magistrate Vincent, I thank you for letting me talk. I appreciate that.
I can appreciate the fact that he ended up having to serve time in jail for a probation violation, but that's a consequence as to that particular crime. My argument is since 2021, he has 9 driving while license suspended. And now it is escalating to the point where he is intoxicated while he's on the roadway without a license, while on probation, while failing to appear at all of these hearings. So appreciating the fact that, you know, alcohol and, you know, just in dropping, you know, whatever urine for that isn't enough at this point, because it's not just about the alcohol. Alcohol is one component of this, but he's continuously going out on the roadway, and it's a privilege to be able to drive, but you have to do it the right way, which makes it a danger because he's not doing it the right way. So that's all I was trying to say, and I digress, and I apologize. And you know, Miss Stevenson, you can say anything in retort.
The last thing I just want to say is that I want to draw the court's attention to is the date of the alleged incident. That's it. It's not a fresh case, Your Honor.
But we have more since.
Okay, all right. The court has heard the arguments, and I appreciate the respective positions of both parties. The court is not going to set a cash surety bond, but the court is going to set a alcohol tether, not the regular monitoring in terms of going in to report. I'm not certain that he will comply with that, Ms. Stevenson, but he's to be connected to alcohol tether because he keeps driving, and he did pick up some traffic offenses subsequent to this date, even though it has been some time. So the court will set a $15,000 personal bond. He is not to use any alcohol and he's not to drive without a valid driver's license. And again, the court will also have impose an alcohol tether. Okay. Then you have a pretrial, Mr. Wiggins, that's scheduled for June the 13th at 8:30. That will be before Judge Jones. It'll be by Zoom. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Then that concludes this matter, sir. Make sure you follow the bond conditions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Let me know. Switch back.
Yes. Just printed.
Stand up, stand up. Right there. So you can.
Okay, sir, your name, please?
I call that.
Ty Coleman. Okay, good morning, Mr. Coleman. All right, court is calling case number 25045175501. The people of the state of Michigan versus Kai Maurice Coleman. Can I have your appearances, please?
Thank you, Magistrate. Steve Vincent for the people.
Ride Marad, PA 3665. On behalf of Mr. Coleman, we waive the reading and stand mute. Mr. Coleman's been advised of his rights.
Okay, the court will enter a not guilty plea on behalf of Mr. Coleman. By recommendation, Mr. Vincent.
Magistrate, in addition to the allegations which you see as well as the charge, both you and defense counsel have the investigator's report. I have an APA note of April 19th of 2025 in the Carpel system, where the defendant, at that point, it was noted that the defendant had sent threatening messages to the complaining witness and has threatened to kill her since this incident date. I think that's very important because the incident date was in August of last year. The warrant was not entered until the end of April of this year, but it shows that this is continuing. So for that reason, it's being charged as a domestic violence. We're not going to object to a personal. We do feel as though a tether is necessary here to keep the defendant's whereabouts, just in line. We would ask for a strict no contact order with the complaining witness through the pendency of the case.
Thank you. Your response, Mr. Marad?
Judge, I almost agree with everything with regard to the recommendation. The only thing I'm going to ask you not to impose, obviously, is the tether. I don't have any prior criminal history for Mr. Coleman. I'm sure Mr. Vincent will correct me if I'm mistaken. He's 23 years old. He's a life resident here in the state. He suffers from epilepsy, takes daily medication that he's not received. I think the age gap here is pretty interesting. It's not necessarily relevant to bond. But Mr. Coleman understands they have no contact. He's not residing with this complaining witness. As Mr. Vincent indicated, this is a case from April of 24.
August.
That's being, sorry. That I think with the no contact order, and no text messages either as a condition of bond, I think a personal should be appropriate here.
Okay, thank you. All right, so Mr. Coleman, even though, it's a domestic violence charge misdemeanor, certainly the facts as alleged are, concerning and they're serious. Oh, also DDC, can we have a file marked medical? I believe it was another gentleman who had some medical issues. The last gentleman, and we did, Mr. Wiggins, I think he needed some medical attention as well. So can we mark Mr. Coleman's file medical? All right. Court has heard the arguments of the parties. Court is going to set a $10,000 personal bond. And while they may have been allegations afterwards, that's something that could be flushed out at trial. But at this juncture, as far as the arraignment, the court feels that's an appropriate bond. Mr. Coleman, you may not have any contact with Naisha Hill. and you may not enter the Holcomb Street location. Sir, do you understand those bond conditions? Okay, all right, then you have a pretrial that's scheduled for June the 13th before Judge Garrett. That will be in person here in the 36th District Court. Okay?
Man,
All right, that concludes this matter.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sanborn. Sanborn. Born.
You gotta go by itself. Phone restriction. He on phone restriction. On phone restriction. We- No, shit.
Say your full name, Sister Julie.
I'm sorry, ma'am, I didn't hear your name.
Julie Jamerson.
Okay. Good morning, Ms. Jamerson. Ms. Jamerson has some tickets, so I'm gonna address those first. Ms. Jamerson, you failed to appear for some court hearings and there were some bench warrants that were issued. The court's gonna set those bench warrants aside. The court is calling ticket number SP 111088994 2020. You're charged with failure to display a valid license. Ticket number SP 1289820 12/14/21, driving while license suspended. Ticket number 172470672, charged with no insurance. Ticket number 172470671, charged with driving with license suspended. And ticket number U 701273224, charged with engaged lottery in a place of illegal occupation. Okay, so for those charges, Ms. Jamerson, you could face up to 93 days in jail and or receive a fine in the amount of $500. The court is going to enter a not guilty plea on your behalf, set a personal bond, and you have a pretrial that's scheduled for June the 27th at 9 o'clock. And that will be by Zoom before Judge Williams, okay? Now, we're gonna move on to your main case. Can you restate your name for the record? Court is calling case number 25057775901. The people of the state of Michigan versus Jewel Danielle Jamerson. Appearances, please.
Lisa Coyle appearing on behalf of the people.
And Ryan Murad, P83665, on behalf of Ms. Jamerson. We waive the reading and stand mute. Ms. Jamerson's been advised of the rights.
Okay, the court will enter not guilty plea on behalf of Ms. Jamerson. Ms. Coyle, you have a bond recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor, I know this is non-assaultive, no objection to a 10,000 personal bond, but I'm asking for a tether. She is currently on probation she pled and was sentenced in December of 2024. She's on probation for retail fraud first to Judge Knapp in the Third Circuit Court. On January 29th of 25, they issued a warrant for a violation of probation. I do note on that case, she had a failure to appear. The bond was 2,010% with a tether. This occurred while she was housed at the ADF. There were 17 transactions made with the complainant's credit card information that she not only used her 15-year-old son and other people to procure those funds. She was the only one that received the money. She has recent priors of 2023 for fleeing and elude, 2023 retail fraud first. So for those reasons, Your Honor, based on her current failure to appear history, I'm asking for that 10,000 personal with a tether. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Your response, Mr. Murad?
I'm asking for just the personal here. If there's anything open in warrant status, she's going to go to the Honorable Judge Knapp. I think she already saw the Honorable Judge Holmes this morning for drug court. So she is getting some help. I think at this point, putting the tether on her would be moot. I would just ask for a flat personal bond, Judge, and any other conditions you see fit, maybe no contact.
Okay, thank you. So DDC, did we show the whole for Third Circuit? Did you say yes?
Yes.
Oh, no, not you. I was asking DDC. Did they say yes?
Yes, Your Honor, she saw Judge Holmes this morning and was given a $2,000 tether bond this morning, Your Honor.
So she has a tether bond? Okay, all right. I was wondering whether or not Judge Knapp, there was a hold for that case. Nevertheless, the court will not impose a tether because it appears that is already a mechanism that is in place to ensure her appearance back in court. However, the court will set a $10,000 personal bond. So Ms. Jameson, you do not have to post any money. Let's see, no bond conditions. Are there some people that were impacted? Looks like a Jones. Jalen Jones, you're not to have any contact with Jaylin Jones. Okay.
And the place of offense too, Judge. I believe that was the adult detention facility. We can do a no contact order there as well.
That's the jail. I know you won't like that no contact with the jail, right?
That's
That's a
funny.
voluntary decision on her part if she wants to have contact or not. That was a good one though, Mr. Morale. I give it to you. Okay. All right then. She has 2 court dates. So Ms. Jamerson, you have a probable cause conference that's scheduled for June the 6th at 8:30. That'll be by Zoom before Judge Jefferson. Then you have the right to a preliminary, ma'am, are you woke asleep or ma'am? Ms. Jamerson? Okay, well then, if you just keep your eyes open a little longer so the court knows that you're here with us.
Yeah,
You can take a nap as soon as we're done.
I'm sick. I apologize.
You're not feeling good? Okay, I hope you feel better, but just pay attention so I'll know that you understand, okay? All right, the probable cause is June the 6th at 8:30, and that's by Zoom before Judge Jefferson. And then you have the right to a preliminary examination. That's June the 11th at 8:30. That's before Judge Jefferson. However, that will be in person. Okay? All right, do you understand everything today? All right, then that concludes this matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's all for the females. Thank you so much, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. All right, so sir,
Yes,
that
ma'am.
DDC, your name, please?
Chief Clark.
Okay. All right, Mr. Clark, good morning. Ms. Clark has some tickets, and so the court's going to address the tickets first. Mr. Clark, you failed to appear for some court hearings, and there were bench warrants that were issued. So the court's going to set those bench warrants aside. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You also have the right to an attorney, and if you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you. Court is calling ticket number U 594-892-21, 11-621. You're charged. Hold on a moment. With looks like attending, having a dog without a leash. Then U 594-893, 11-621. Consuming alcohol in public. Okay. Then you have case number 04-657941. That's the 82593. You're charged with operating under the influence. And ticket number 05, or case number 05-272581, 4/15/2005, operating while intoxicated. Okay, so Mr. Clark, for those charges, you could face up to 93 days in jail and or receive a fine in the amount of $500. The court is going to enter a not guilty plea on your behalf, set a personal bond, and you have a pretrial that's scheduled for June the 24th at 9 o'clock. And that will be Can't see who this is. Oh, let's see. Before Judge Christina Kennedy. That'll be by Zoom, okay? All right, then Mr. Clark, looks like you may have two other matters. And so would you restate your name for the record?
Keith Clark.
Okay, the court is calling case number 1604532-601. The people of the state of Michigan versus Keith Clark. Court will also call case number 200-4583201. The people of the state of Michigan versus Keith Clark. May I have your appearance, please?
Lisa Coyle appearing on behalf of the people.
And Ryan Murad, P83665, on behalf of Mr. Keith Clark. We waive the formal reading and stand mute. Mr. Clark's been advised of his rights.
Okay, the court will enter not guilty plea on behalf of Mr. Clark. Trial recommendation, Ms. Coyle.
Recommendations on both the 2016 recommending 5,000 personal. This is the first time it's being arraigned. No KPS history, no contact with Perlene Dorsch. On the 20 case, Your Honor, no, that's from 2020. Also, although there's been no arraignment, no KPS history, no asking for 5,000, no contact with Angela Dorsch.
Okay.
No objection
Any
to personal, no
objection?
contact.
Okay, thank you. All right, then the court will enter a personal bond or set a personal bond on the 2016 case as well as the 2020 case. Mr. Clark, you may not have any contact with Perlene Dorsch, and you may not possess or purchase a firearm or any other dangerous weapon. That's on the 2016 case. On the 2020 case, you may not possess or purchase a firearm or any other dangerous weapon, and you may not have any contact with an Angela Dorsch. Do you understand those bond conditions? Is that a yes? I couldn't hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then you have pretrial. It's separate. Let's see, hold on. Oh, one is before Judge Garrett on June the 13th at 8:30. That'll be by Zoom. And then the other one, 2016 case, that's scheduled before Judge Jones on June the 13th. So you have two judges on the same day. Is that,
We'll work it with him, Your Honor.
we can work that out?
Yeah, we're gonna be his attorneys on both cases, so we'll
Okay.
do what we do.
Inform the court. All right then. Okay. Did I say his personal bonds?
Yes, I know.
Okay, on both cases. All right. All right, just gonna write it down. Okay, then that concludes this matter.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we should have one more meal.
Stay right here.
Officer Rilla, Manuel Mercado.
Yes. Good morning, sir. Afternoon. Okay, the court is calling. Case number 250-453-1901. The people of the state of Michigan versus Jose Manuel Varela Mercado. All right, appearances, please.
Lisa Coyle appearing on behalf of the people.
And Ryan Murad, P83665, on behalf of Mr. Varela Mercado. Waive the formal reading and stand mute. Mr. Varela Mercado has been advised of his rights. Mr. Mercado.
Okay, the court will enter not guilty plea on behalf of Mr. Is it Mercado or Mercado?
Sir, can you correct us? How do we pronounce your last name?
Mercado.
You had it right, Judge. I'm sorry.
Varela Mercado. Okay, thank you. All right. So Is it not guilty plea? Can we have a bond recommendation from the people?
Recommending the 10,000 personal, Your Honor. I'm not aware of a criminal history for Mr. Mercado. I'd also ask for no contact with his brother, who's the complainant in this matter, Mr. Alejandro Mercado. This case dates back to May of 23. It was just signed in this month. So I'm not aware of any assaultive contacts since this occasion. So no objection to the 10,000 personal.
No objection.
Okay, no priors, Ms. Hoyle?
No, I'm not aware of any. Thank you.
Okay. All right, then the court will set a $5,000 personal bond. So Mr. Mercado, Varela Mercado, you're not to have any contact. Who is this? What's the relationship here?
They're brothers.
Okay. With Alejandro Varela Mercado. Are they different addresses?
Yes, they were not residing at the time, is my understanding.
Right. You not to have any contact, sir. Is that understood? Do you understand the condition for no contact
Yes, ma'am.
with your brother? All right, while this matter is pending. Okay. You have a pretrial that's scheduled for June the 13th at 8:30. That'll be by Zoom before Judge Jones. And sir, the court is also going to impose a condition. You may not possess or purchase a firearm or any other dangerous weapon. Okay? All right. Okay, then that concludes this matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. I think that does it, Judge.
Oh, that's a wrap. Okay. All right, then we'll see everybody back here at 1:30.
Sounds good.
Oh,
Good to
2:30.
see you, Mr. Vincent. Your Honor, take care, everyone.
All right, we'll see you guys later.
Right.